different things. Number one, you do have a short answer assessment that's going to be happening on Friday on chapters 23 through 25. It'll be a written assessment like you guys did with the last one. We are still waiting. We have, sorry, give me just a second, close the door. We're still waiting to hear from the governor about what the plans are for the rest of the year. So we know that we are out of school till May 4th. 37 states around the country have either decided not to do school for the rest of the year or to encourage online learning. And so we'll find out if we're going to be one of the few states that will decide to try to come back at the end of the year or not. But for us, this assessment model will work out just fine, where it'll be like the last one, open notes. On Friday, you will be getting questions that will help you to kind of explain in your own words what's going on with the content that you've been reading over the past few weeks, going from the time of Truman all the way through the civil rights movement. And so hopefully with the last one, I saw a lot of you guys doing really great work. Hopefully this one does the same. Today is going to be set aside for a couple different things. And so first, let me bring this right here. Remember, this is your Google Drive page that you guys have for this class. And so you'll want to use this breakdown right here to help yourself get ready for the test. And any questions you guys have today, I can answer. Same thing as tomorrow. So that's part of what we're doing for you guys. And so for some of you guys, this stuff can be kind of tricky. And if there's anything that you see on this page that causes you problems, today and tomorrow, your time to ask. When we get to Friday, then we'll be in the assessment phase. And what I'll be looking for is you to be writing in your own words responses to questions that are built off of these concepts on the left-hand side. For you guys also, keep in mind that when you're doing this assessment on Friday, any copying from the internet or other sorts of things will result in a 0. So I'm looking for your own words, not copying and pasting. So please make sure that when you are looking down these things, don't just trust that you can look on the internet. But instead, make sure that you ask any questions that you need beforehand to make sure that you're good. So I'm going to be listening for a little ding here from the chat to see if there's anything that pops up as far as questions for how to get this done. But then also the other thing is, for some of you guys, these activities are pretty easy for you to do. So the only other thing that I need to highlight is we are now moving into chapter 26, which is the Vietnam War. Vietnam War is, first of all, a foreign conflict starting in the 1960s officially, but we have involvement in the Vietnam conflict prior to that, where Vietnam as a country used to be known as French Indochina. And so you'll see that in the question number 1 right here. It used to be a colony of France. And so when we learned about the colonization of the United States back in the 1600s, we'll find that Europe, after the American Revolution, was still colonizing places like Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Pacific Islands, and so on. And France took over a place called Indochina, now known as Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and so on. And they tried to hold that as a territory. During World War II, they lost control of Vietnam to Japan. And then after World War II was finished, France retook this area as a colony of theirs. And the people inside the country felt nationalistic. They did not like being colonized. And in many ways, the leader of the communist part of North Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, he made parallels where he claimed to the United States that we should be viewing what he was up to, resisting French occupation, as being kind of like the American Revolution with George Washington. Now, for the United States, you know that we've got, during this time period, really big problems with communism, and Ho Chi Minh is somebody who is a dictator, and he is engaging in attacks on his people. But the leaders of South Vietnam are struggling to maintain the leadership that they have, especially as France pulls out of Vietnam in the 1950s. So what we're going to be learning about is, in lesson number 1, how did America get involved in the Vietnam conflict? And then we'll be studying in lesson number 2, how did the Vietnam War develop? What did the strategies look like? What was going on with the war itself? And why did people start to oppose this war? Because unlike previous wars, we're going to have a full-blown anti-war effort going on inside the United States. We'll be taking a look at the reason why Americans were so troubled by the Vietnam War. In lesson number 3, we're going to see that as we move through this time period, 2 presidencies are heavily impacted by the Vietnam War, Lyndon Johnson's and Richard Nixon. And both of them are going to have problems because they're going to make the presidency a lot stronger. But they're also going to find that this is a war that becomes unwinnable for the United States. And we're going to have different viewpoints as far as why that is. You're going to learn about 2 terms called hawks and doves. During the War of 1812, you learned about war hawks who really were excited about going to war with England to try to conquer Canada. We have our hawks during the Vietnam War. They are people who believe that if we just were more aggressive during the Vietnam War, America could have won this conflict. On the other hand, we have doves, which symbolize peace. And for the doves during the 1960s and 70s, they're going to argue that we should not be in the Vietnam War, that our motives are not right, that our goals are not right, that this is a civil war that is unwinnable. And this divide is going to show up not just during the time period, but it's also going to divide our politics nowadays. So if you take a look at Republicans and Democrats and how they deal with foreign policy, a lot of their feelings about one another still have roots back in the Vietnam conflict. Now, as you take a look down here for lessons 1 through 3, this is what we'll be studying over the next week as we move into chapter 26. So what I would like you to do, please, is this. I'm going to want you to be prepared for the next few days. We're going to be taking a look at lesson number 1, and that's where you should start moving into if you feel confident that this material is no problem for you for Friday. We're going to have a video connected to lesson 1, and that video and lesson 1 are going to be what I'm going to be expecting to have done by Monday. And so if this is something that you can get done before class tomorrow, that's great. If not, and you need to focus on this, tomorrow when we get back together, we'll be answering any questions you guys have. I'll be sharing with you then what's going on with America's entrance into the Vietnam conflict, and we'll be taking a look at that as our jump off point into chapter 26. I'm going to take a look back now and see if I've got anything going on in my chat. I see nothing going on with chat questions for you guys. And so at this point, if you have no questions, you should be good. Your grades should be getting updated in an ongoing fashion. I just had a bunch of kids' essays submitted for my AP class. They've got their AP test on May 15th. If you are an AP Bio kid and you get your test on the 18th, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Trying to prep from afar is tough. But I'm almost finished up with those essays, and then I plan on diving back into your class's grades. If you also find that you're having trouble or questions with anything with the e-learning, please reach out to me. I've got a number of people who sent emails over the past couple of days. I'll be returning your messages today. And if you find that you're struggling, please keep me in the loop so I can help you out. At this point, though, if you have no questions, you can dip out and have a great rest of the day. Make sure you fill out the attendance for today so that your attendance is taken care of, and stay healthy and stay safe. Have a great day, guys.